Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel on NFL content. Um, I bring you week two's review of the week's scores and action. Obviously who did well this week, who's had a poor week. Um, yeah, so we're gonna start with the Monday Night Football game. Um, which was the Detroit Lions at Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers wins 35-17. Um, the some of the biggest lines of this game. Aaron Rodgers threw for 255 passing yards and four touchdowns in the Packers win. Um, Jared Jared Goff, even being on the losing side, had 246 passing yards and two touchdowns himself. Um, this game kind of was tight up until the third quarter, but then in the third quarter, in the last half of the game, in the third and fourth quarter, Green Bay Packers scores 21 uh, unanswered points and wins the game basically, and basically puts it out the realm of the Detroit Lions. But both quarterbacks have decent passing yards and touchdown ratios in both games. Good win for the Green Bay Packers, back to 1-1. Sadly for Detroit Lions to go at 2-0, but they do look like they could get a win against a lesser team soon. Jared Goff looked quite good in the first half. Don't know why. In the second half, I think I don't know why he kind of fell off the cliff in the second half. I don't know. Uh, I'm guessing the Packers defense was stronger and sort of figured out where he was going for his passing. But going forward, Jared Goff looks good at the Detroit Lions. Obviously, they need to get the wins on the board realistically now, because 2-0, obviously the worst start you can have in the NFL. In after 3 weeks, after 2 weeks. So yeah, it's not good. But for Green Bay Packers, a win, bounce back win. Aaron Rodgers looked good. So obviously four touchdown passes. So yeah, Packers march on to next week. Good win for them. Um, we go next game, Bills at Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. Um, 35-0 win for the Buffalo Bills. Um, the Buffalo Bills are now 1-1 after obviously losing to Steelers in week one. Bounce back with a heavy win against the Dolphins. Josh Allen threw for 97 yards and two touchdowns. Um, and rushing yards was good as well. Um, Stephon Diggs had a good game. Um, yeah, on the good win for the Buffalo Bills, pushing forward back to 1-1. Um, Obviously, also the Dolphins go 1-1. Obviously, beat the Patriots week one. Now lost to the Bills. Uh, Biggest story here on the Dolphins side was Tua went off in Tua went off injured. It looks quite a serious injury. Um, they look like it could be out for a few weeks. Jacoby Brissett come in and threw for only 109 yards. Now, if he's going to be the quarterback going forward while Tua is injured, that's got to be a lot better. The Dolphins have got to be much better than that, and him as a quarterback and the wide receivers and the tight ends have to be better on the offense. Defensively, you just can't give up 35 points in a game and expect to win it, really. So yeah, you want to see a lot better from the Miami Dolphins. We go on to the next game, which was the Cincinnati Bengals at the Bears. We we have the Bears winning it 20 points to 17. Um, we have we have a we have the Bears have seem to run the ball in this game a lot. Justin Fields only had 60 yards, so that probably tells you that the Bears run the ball more than anything. Good win for the Bears, interesting win. There seemed to be a very much a run offense this year, not really throwing the ball, but running the ball most plays. To and obviously you could grind out a win here against the Bengals. Bengals won the week one, lost this week. The Out of the negative defeat for the Bengals, the one positive you can see is Joe Burrow threw for 107 yards and two touchdowns. So even in defeat, they look entertaining. The obviously Joe Burrow looks like the Joe Burrow he was before the injury. So that is a really good sign for the Bengals. Looking back at the Bears, when we had 60, 61 yards, so that's positive for them. But going forward, good win for the Bears. 1-1. Bengals now 1-1. All both going into week three. But the Bengals now with Joe Burrow looking back to what he was looking like before the injury could be a really difficult team to play in the playoffs if they can get to the playoffs. But yeah, they look like a very exciting team to watch. Being in two close games, which is really, really interesting. And for the Bears, just moving forward, they've just got. I think the playoffs is the main aim this season, but it looks like it's going to be done in a run offense instead of a passing offense. But we could see something different in week three. Going on to next game, the Broncos go 2-0 for this season, winning 23-13 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Teddy Bridgewater throwing for 328 yards, two touchdown passes. The rushing yards, 64 yards from Williams for the Broncos as well. Good win for the Broncos, 2-0, looking good. Teddy Bridgewater looking good. A quarterback in Denver. Could these be contenders to go to the Super Bowl this year as an underdog pick? Teddy Bridgewater is playing outstanding so far. And then looking on the other side of the coin in the game, Jacksonville lose again. Trevor Lawrence threw for 118 yards, only one touchdown. Must be better. It's got to be better with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence was the number one pick in this draft. He was supposed to be the best thing since Andrew Luck. It's obviously only 2 games in, but things have got to get better in Jacksonville. It's the worst start of the season that they could possibly have. Just things must get better for Jacksonville, but for Detroit, for Denver, 2-0 looking good. Teddy Bridgewater and their offense looking very good. We move on to next game, which is the Texans at the Browns. The Browns win by 31-21. Baker Mayfield threw for 213 yards and one touchdown. It looks like the Browns have mixed the offense up between throwing the ball and running the ball, but got the job done there with for the Cleveland Browns. So both teams are 1-1 going into week 3. On the other side of the ball of the Texans, Tyrod Taylor threw for 125 yards, one touchdown. Cooks and Ingram had some good receptions and running yards. I think for the Browns has to stay consistent. Baker Mayfield has to be throw probably the ball a bit more, but the running game has to be good also. With people like Nick Chubb still there at the Browns, so yeah, they need just the consistency. And for the Texans, Tyrod Taylor has some good weapons there with Cooks and Ingram. Really need them to click to see what happens with the Texans going forward. They've got some good parts there at Houston. There wasn't at the start of the season were a bit teams were the pundits were a bit worried about them, but they look decent going forward. The next game was the Rams at the Colts. Rams win 27-24. Matt Stafford throwing for 278 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, what a start he's having in LA at the Rams. Played 2-1-2 for the Rams, looking good. Cooper Cup looking good as well. Um, yeah, good win for the Rams there going forward 2-0. Matt Stafford's got off to an outstanding start as a quarterback at the Rams. Looking on the other side of things, Colts are now played two, lost two. Carson Wentz threw for 247 yards, one touchdown for one touchdown as well. That is big. That is a big amount of yardage in a losing game. So that tells you that how close that game was there. Obviously, Rams winning it by 3 points in the end. So yeah, both teams with Colts need to get over the hump of being in close games, but actually winning these close games instead of losing them. But yeah, looking good for the Rams so far. Um, we come to come to one of the upsets of week two. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders, who beat the Baltimore Ravens in week one, beats the Pittsburgh Steelers 26-17. Derek Carr, outstanding performance by Derek Carr in the Raiders. Threw for 382 yards and two touchdowns. Um, and Harry Ruggs also having 113 yards for five receptions and one touchdown himself. Derek Carr and Ruggs has got off to a great start for the season for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now they're 2-0, which nobody would have probably thought that before the start of the season. So that's fantastic for the Raiders. Looking good going forward, to be fair. The Raiders, I was fortunate to watch them on Monday Night Football in week one, and they looked good. Looked good against the Baltimore Ravens. Come back to win the game in overtime. But yeah, this could be an exciting season for the Raiders. And for the Steelers, lost, obviously lost this week, but also on that side of things, Ben Roethlisberger threw for 295 yards for one touchdown. That's still quite a lot of yards in a losing effort. But for the Steelers, they need the consistency of winning week in and week out if they want to be contending in the AFC and obviously get to the Super Bowl and to contend for the AFC Championship down the line in the season. So the next game, full disclosure, I'm a New England Patriots fan, so this is the next game we're going to. The Patriots win 25-6. Yeah, 25-6. Mac Jones throwing for 186 yards. Harris having a good game and White having a good game. Mac Jones looked good, looked decent. Done enough in this game to win the game. Obviously, we only scored 16 points last week. Week one, 25 points. Little bit of an increase this week. Won the game against the Jets. Positive going forward. We we need to defend a little bit better. I know we only conceded 6 points this week. With defense against Miami in week 1 was a bit poor, so I would like to see the defensive side of things get a little bit better for the Patriots. But offensively, we're looking good. I'd like to see we get more, score more touchdowns and put more than 25 points on the board. But we're seeing little bits of improvement, so that's a positive. That's a really positive thing. Um, the Jets go to so the Patriots go to 1-1. The Jets go to 0-2. Zach Wilson threw for 210 yards, but and ultimately in a losing effort. The Jets 0-2, not a good start for the Jets. Must get better. Not really expected to do much this season, but they must at least get a couple of wins on the board to make their season look a little bit healthier at the end of the season. But work in progress with another rookie in Zach Wilson. Yeah, but well done to the Patriots and Mac Jones and uh, uh, James White and the others on the win. So going forward, hopefully we can score more points and be better defensively to be back to be back to win our division, and then hopefully go into the AFC Championship game, or at least go to the playoffs and then possibly get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, so I'm excited as a Patriots fan this season. Um, the next game is the Saints and the Panthers. Panthers win this 26-7. 26-7 win. Sam Darnold for the Panthers, throwing for 305 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Sam Darnold, as start as a Panther, has been fantastic. Now played to 1-2. Darnold's looking good. These Panthers has kind of snuck in under the radar, but the definitely people's gonna look up and take notice now. Obviously got McCaffrey back, 24, uh, 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 72 yards and 1 touchdown himself. So, um, so Donald's got weapons there in the Panthers. Really exciting for them to start the season 2-0, 2 wins and 0 losses. So good. Saints go to 1-1. Jameis Winston throws for 111 yards in a losing effort, but he also rushed as well for 19 yards and 1 touchdown. Um, it just looks like a bad day at the office for the Saints. Obviously shocked, probably biggest upset of the week in week 1. But week 2 defeated against a good Panthers team. So for the Panthers, looking exciting going forward. For Saints must bounce back this in week 3. The next game is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Eagles. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 189 passing yards and 1 touchdown in a win for them. Jalen Hurts threw for 190 yards. 190 yards for the Eagles in a losing effort. Only 6 points defeat. Only lost by 6 points. The Eagles there. They go to 1-1, where the 49ers go to 2-0. Jimmy G with another win for the 49ers, looking good going forward. 2 wins and no losses after 2 games, so positive. It's positive there in San Francisco. We move to the next game, which is the Falcons at the Buccaneers. Obviously, the Falcons lose again, 48-25. They're now 0-2 from the first 2 games of the season. Matt Ryan threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in a losing effort. Tom Brady threw for 276 yards and 5 touchdown passes for the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fournette looking good. Evans looking good. Has weapons with Gronkowski and Brown on that team as well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking good going forward to be in the playoffs minimum and possibly in the in the NFC Championship game. But we have to look. We have to see what happens going forward, as we're only into week 2. So, but looking positive for the Bucks, looking dire for the Falcons. You know, Matt Ryan threw for 300 yards and still lose the game quite heavily by a good 18 points. So, yeah, not looking good for the Falcons, but the Bucks looking really good, looking solid to start the season. Next game is the Vikings and the Cardinals. Cardinals win 34-33, a tight game. Cardinal Kyler Murray threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdown passes in this game. So won by 1 point by the Cardinals. So the Cardinals move on to 2-0. Vikings move on to 0-2. Vikings have just got to get better. This is like a worst start of the season. I think these teams who are 0-2 just has to find their first win from somewhere. But yeah, good. Kyler Murray, good again for the Cardinals. Nobody really expected much from the Cardinals this season, and they've started 2-0, so could be a really good season ahead for the Cardinals. And Kyler Murray, my personal opinion, I rate Kyler Murray very highly. So be interesting to see what happens. But for the Vikings, must get better. Simple as that. Um, the next game was the Cowboys against the Chargers. Cowboys win 20 points to 17. That's Prescott throws for 237 yards. They rushed the ball for 107 yards and a touchdown as well. Cowboys wins the game by 3 points. But Chargers on the other side of the ball, Justin Herbert threw for 338 yards and 1 touchdown. So that's a massive amount of yardage in a losing effort. So both teams move on to 1-1. Dak Prescott's looking like he's starting to find his form for the Cowboys and starting to catch his receivers, and they're mixing it up. We're using the Russian pass rush to the throw-in as well. So they're mixing it up. So we're looking decent for the Cowboys. Got their first win of the season. Both teams go on to 1-1, and look positive. Both look fairly positive going into week 3. The Titans. The next game is the Titans versus the Seahawks. In this game goes to overtime, and the Titans win 33-30. Ryan Tannehill throwing for 347 yards. The Titans rushed the ball 35 attempts, 182 yards for 3 touchdowns. So yeah, it seems like as well as sort of throwing the ball, they run the ball quite well as well, and won the game. On the other side of the coin, Russell Wilson throws for 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a losing effort for the Seahawks. Both teams move on to 1-1 going into week 3. And then we come to the Sunday night football game, which was an upset win for the Ravens at the Super Bowl runners-up and the current AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens win 36-35. Lamar Jackson throws for 239 yards and 1 touchdown. They run the ball quite well as well. Big over 100 yards running the ball as well. Patrick Mahomes in a losing effort, threw for 343 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Um, Great win for the Ravens after the disappointment of losing in overtime last week and surrendering a 14-point lead. Um, yeah, great way to get your first win of the season. Obviously, first loss for Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams go 1-1, but both teams will be hoping to feature in the AFC playoff picture going forward. Um, and Obviously the Thursday night, I think I mentioned in the preview as well. But obviously the Thursday night football game was the Washington Redskins and Giants. With Washington football team won 30-29. Um, Hickey threw for 336 yards and 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones threw for 249 yards and 1 touchdown on the losing side. But Taylor Hickey had a good game there for the Washington. They go to 1-1, and the Giants start 0-2. No wins out of the first two games. So Giants must do better. Washington Redskins be happy to be 1-1 after 2 weeks. So that is the review for week 2. The biggest winners of the week, obviously, I would say the Ravens and the Raiders. I think those two quarterbacks as well have done well. Derek Carr looks really good. Kyler Murray looks good at Cardinals. Yeah, so some of these rookies are looking confident in the NFL, which pretty good. Obviously, Kyler Murray's not a rookie now; he's been in the NFL a couple of years, but both looking positive for those teams. I'll be back for week 3 preview in a couple of days' time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment in the comment section who you support, which NFL team you support, and how you think the season will go, and any predictions for the season. Okay, thank you for watching, and see you all in the next video.